Welcome back, viewers. Let's now turn our attention to emissions reduction mechanisms. These can be divided into market-based mechanisms and non-market-based mechanisms. Of the market-based mechanisms, emissions trading is the most important one. When countries set a limit or a cap on greenhouse gas emissions, that creates something of value, the right to emit. Those countries and companies that stay below that emissions cap can sell their rights to emit, which are measured in tons of CO2 equivalent, while those countries that overshoot their limit can buy these emission rights from those countries that have stayed below their limit. This is called emissions trading or cap and trade. And the cap is progressively lowered periodically in order to achieve emissions reduction. There are a number of benefits of emissions trading. The most important one is flexibility. Companies can, for instance, plan their investment portfolios and combine them with climate action over the medium to long term, knowing that in some years, when they fall short, they can easily buy the emission rights to meet their targets, while in other years, they may be able to sell the permits. This creates really a monetary incentive for emissions reductions. On the non-market-based mechanisms, we can give you a couple of examples. One is imposing carbon taxes. Macron tried to do this in France until he was stopped by the Gilets jaunes. The other one is simply setting carbon targets, yearly carbon targets. Angela Merkel did this in Germany, although unfortunately the carbon targets had to be watered down due to pressure from the German car industry and the coal mining sector. At this juncture, and simply for completeness' sake, we will also mention other actions that are not necessarily mechanisms as such, but nonetheless they are actions that reduce emissions. Number one, energy efficiency. Even changing a light bulb from incandescent to LED reduces emissions. Number two, changing to renewables phases out fossil fuels, thereby reducing emissions. Also, did you know that carbon dioxide is, even as we speak currently, being captured as a gas from the atmosphere, liquefied and forced into caverns underground? This is called carbon capture and storage. Having said that, there are less dramatic but more environmentally friendly actions for carbon capture and storage. The most important one is pyrogenic carbon capture and storage, where biomass is simply transformed to biochar and used, for instance, as a soil enhancement component. For your information, viewers, we will be delving into the intricacies of all of these as we go along from time to time.